So today in Oracle Cloud, I launched a 64 OCPU, so basically a 64 uh, core, 128 thread bare metal machine with 8 NVIDIA A100s in it and almost 26 terabytes of NVMe SSD storage across 4 drives, 2 terabytes of RAM, and 50 gigabits per second network bandwidth. So I wanted to see what hash rate I could get out of this machine, and it was pretty interesting. I was running the Oracle Linux Gen 2 GPU image, which is nice because all the NVIDIA drivers are installed already. So one quick, easy way to check that is as soon as it provisions the machine, log in and run NVIDIA-SMI. Some people call it NVIDIA SME. And if you see all your cards there and temperatures and memory statistics and things like that, or memory capacity, you know that the NVIDIA drivers are installed correctly. So that's what I did for this particular instance. And I tried to launch it in my base region of Phoenix, but I had to switch regions because it's not available there. It's in Ashburn. So I went to manage regions, and I subscribed to the Ashburn region and launched this instance there. So really powerful machine, large machine, and this is what it looked like. Once I logged in, I installed ETHMiner and pointed it at Ethermine and ran it, and you can see here that it saw all 8 cards. Each one of them has 40 gigs of RAM. And if we read about NVIDIA's press release on this, they've got 2 models, a 40 gig model and an 80 gig model. So my machine has the 40 gig model. And these cards, by the way, the 40 gig machine, if you wanted to, or 40 gig card, if you wanted to buy one right now, they're $10,000 a piece. So this particular machine, just on the GPU side, and I know Oracle didn't pay $10,000 each for it. I'm sure they got a deep discount for buying in bulk. But if they were to pay MSRP for it, basically you're looking at, I'm not sure what the exact MSRP is, but $80,000 worth of GPUs just on this one box is kind of a rough estimate of cost. Plus the 64 core 128 thread CPU, which is probably an Epic. That's probably easily a $3,000 CPU. So if you could get this thing to mine efficiently on the GPUs, and you could also run XMRig on the CPU, it would be a very, very powerful machine. And it has Ampere. It says it's the world's highest performing GPU, Tensor Core. So fastest memory bandwidth at 2 terabytes per second. And it was quite fast in my testing. So it saw all 8 cards at 40 gigs each, and generated the DAG in, I think, took about 2 seconds for each card to put the 4 gigs on there. And then used OpenCL to start mining. And you can see DAG is in there, and we've still got 35 gigs free on each card. And the first hash rate is 0 because we haven't done anything yet. And interesting thing that happened here, we had an accepted share here, I believe, and then all of a sudden I got kicked out. I am guessing that Oracle kicked me out because they saw ethermine.org, I'm guessing the network team, and saw this address come across the wire, and they terminated the connection automatically, is my guess. So I got a sigsev and stack trace and dead. So I went ahead and ran it again and got the same thing. Saw 8 cards and generated the DAGs and got a little farther this time. You can see it took 2 seconds for each DAG. 2,000 milliseconds is about 2 seconds, or is 2 seconds. And the first ETHMiner results were 0, and the second one was 154 megahash, so about 16 to 20 megahash to 25 here on card number 5 per card, which wasn't much and was surprising. But then I started getting some accepted shares and kept it running, And look at this. Um, Suddenly we shot up to 1.27 gigahash. So we 10x'd the hash rate on this. We went from 154 megahash to 1.27 gigahash in the space of 2 minutes. Um, so then all of a sudden got disconnected again. I'm guessing Oracle kicked me out and got that SigSev stack trace backtrace, and that was the end of it. So um, anyway, I thought that was interesting. I got up to 1.27 gigahash. I wonder what would have happened if I would have been able to keep it running, but I couldn't. And just to reiterate on the specs for this machine, and here's a quick Ethermine dashboard view. It didn't even get up to this. Ethermine was lagging and didn't show me the hash rate, but it at least the worker appeared here. But if we go back to the machine, again, we can see this was 8 A100s, 25 terabytes of local storage across 4 drives, 2 terabytes of RAM, 50 gigabit per second network bandwidth, 64 core, 128 thread OCPU, which netted me, in my testing, 1.27 gigahash per second on one machine. Each card is about $10,000, 8 cards, $80,000 plus the machine. It was about a $100,000 machine that I was running this on. But of course, Oracle paid probably half that for it, I would guess, or even less if they bought many of these, and I'm sure that they did. So anyway, thought that was interesting and wanted to share that with you. And if you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. Thanks for watching.